I started at UT 3 years ago, and the second I got here, everyone was talking about Arrowmont.
For me, it just was a way to open up a world that I hadn't previously had, or maybe a new community.
It turns out like a lot of our students were working up there, and it was like this weird accelerator. Students who were doing good work to begin with would go up there for a course and then come back and their work was markedly better.
I think for me, in my situation at the University of Tennessee, what Arrowmont does is offer courses that we can't offer, either because of money, because of lack of faculty, or because of whatever. Arrowmont is our adjunct campus. It offers wood, it offers glass, it offers all these things that we can't do at the university.
As opposed to maybe in a collegiate classroom, everybody was roughly the same age, roughly had the same goals, or kind of matriculating through a program that was very similar. But Arrowmont provided this alternative to that.
You know, we get students that are like that are transactional. They come in, they say, I want to learn Photoshop, I want to learn, well, it used to be Final Cut, now I want to learn Premiere or Avid, I want to learn all these things, I want to get out, that's all I want to learn. And those students will probably land a job as soon as they get out, and then they will stay in that job until several years after they've died. And that'll be a problem, because they will never have developed the sort of critical capacity for listening and doing that I think that UT for once, but a lot of their schools do that. Students come in looking for X, and then they show them that there's actually Y and Z beyond X that I think is really important to think about. And Arrowmont helps teach you Y and Z, but they do it in this way that disguises it as X.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I was attracted to when I first came here as a student was in my classes, there was a really eclectic and diverse mix of other students. Some of them full-time working artists, some of them taking art because it was something that they enjoyed, other students like myself. And so the conversation seemed a little bit more rich.
I might be a painter, but there's a lot that I can learn by taking a class about building a wooden box by hand, and just the different sense of time and structure of that. I think those experiences, no matter whether you consider yourself a digital photographer, a filmmaker, printmaker, fabric, artist, whatever it may be, those experiences are always rich, and they always come back and really influence that main thing that you may think of yourself as and you identify as.
My experience with Arrowmont was always one of a more holistic experience. I mean, there are some techniques that I came and learned here that I never use. But there are people that I met here, and there are contacts, and there are experiences, and there are other students and instructors who I'm still in contact with.
So you go up there, you have this amazing experience with teachers that end up being connections all over the country. So you meet people there, and then you see them again 2 years later at a conference, and you say, hey, we ate ice cream together. I can't believe I wore that shirt.
To come here and get a chance to say, hey, this is what I do, this is what I work on, these are what I'm interested in, gives you a chance to talk to people who normally you might not be talking to.
You've got that class time, but then in those unstructured moments, there's these great conversations that pop up, and these relationships that can really take root, that you might find, it's somebody taking another class, but you end up, corresponding with them for years.
They come for this experience. They live that experience. They're not just there to learn a technique or to take a painting class or deal with a figure drawing or something. They're there to be part of the community.
I really enjoyed being able to meet people where I wasn't going to hear the same things, the same stories, the same experiences. I'm going to hear new experiences that maybe they've had. And that also influences my decision as an artist, because some of the stories that people have who might be a little bit older, they might have had this completely artistic experience in their life that they're still having, or they've left and then came back to, that can really inform a decision about how young artists choose the path that they're going to take.
And you learn to work with your hands and have a conversation while working with your hands, and to understand different perspectives.
If you're not grounded in some ways, as fast as you're running towards the future, you may just be running in place. And so I think it's really important to just sort of have that sort of sense of the wealth of possibilities that are out there.
Ultimately, that's what I hope my students leave with in all capacities, this idea of critical and rhetorical thought. Because that transcends technical proficiency, that transcends job market. It's rare, you know, to have someone be able to think very critically about a situation and make informed decisions, regardless of being tied to a media or a medium or a specification. I think that's rare, and I think that Arrowmont and places like Arrowmont are really good places to learn that, and to, if you have learned it, to flex it and maybe even teach others.